Mercury retrograde got me. Do you know I spoke for almost 30 minutes on this particular video? And my camera, this stupid camera, can pretend like it's recording without the memory card in it. Yes, I have a Fujifilm GFX camera. And if you don't change the setting, if you press record, it'll be like, I'm recording. Yeah, go ahead. Say anything you want. I will record it for sure for you. God, it was the most beautiful things that I was saying. Let's hope I can recapture that essence. So yes, today we're going to be doing one of my favorite Atmakarakas, which is Venus, Shukra, in the first house. Okay. And this is not the same alignment as just Venus in the first house. Okay, there's some deeper things here. And what is the Atmakaraka? First of all, Atmakaraka is a planet that is closest to the 30th degree point, the planet with the highest degree. And we do not include Rahu, Ketu, Uranus, Neptune, or Pluto. We only include Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. And if you do not know if Venus is your Atmakaraka, then you can go to kairosastrology.com, where especially under shop section on option 6 and beyond, you will see a report where on the second or third page, it'll give you the degrees of all the planets and tell you which one is the highest. Okay, it's the closest to the 30th degree. So maybe majority of your planets are at 8 degrees. Venus is at 14 degrees. Okay, great. Then Venus is your Atmakaraka. Okay. So now, Atmakaraka, right? Atmakaraka is not a planet where you feel like, oh, wow. Atmakaraka, yes, I love it. Venus is my Atmakaraka. Sun is my Atmakaraka. Because remember what Atmakaraka holds. It holds the lessons you're here to learn. And don't think those lessons will be learned by the time you end your life. Because many times what happens is you'll probably get the same Atmakaraka in the next life because you did not understood the lessons from previous lives. You were given a chance to learn this lesson. You're like, nah. And why did that happen? Maybe because that was your destiny. You have to have this Atmakaraka for 6 lifetimes. That's how severe it is. Why? Because you're learning lessons from the previous life. So there's always going to be lessons behind. So Venus in the first house as the non-Atmakaraka will have a different implication versus when it's the Atmakaraka. And first house is very important because when you were born, Venus was rising along with Sun. Either Sun would have already risen or maybe Sun was still behind and Venus was the only planet, that beautiful planet rising up in the sky. So this is why it has a very strong implication of Venus in the first versus any other planet. And here when it's in the first house, what is the lesson that it is here to show us? What is the lesson that is here to teach us? Well, the first thing that you understand that the Venus is given to you for a reason, right? Okay. Venus has been given to you for a reason. What happens with this person in previous life? They wanted too much attention upon themselves. They wanted appreciation. They received appreciation from other people. But what was the problem? They never gave it back. Imagine, and again, I'm trying to, rewind my mind of what I was saying for 30 minutes. But let's say there's a beauty queen, won a pageant. The world is appreciating her. And there's this natural ego that I am Miss Universe. I am the most beautiful person. Wow. And now I'm going to get all the endorsements, millions of dollars. I'm probably end up gonna marrying some billionaire, multimillionaire tycoon. All these things are running in their head. Okay. But one thing that this person will have the hardest time with Venus as the Atmakaraka is looking at another woman and saying, I gotta tell you, You are really beautiful. You know, you should have won this pageant instead of me. Wow. Because when the Atmakaraka, and remember, what is the Atmakaraka scenario? It is going to make you revisit the same problem again. Because you have to know the problem. You cannot learn your lessons because you'll be oblivion. What lessons am I here to learn with my Atmakaraka? So what it does, life does, it takes you back to that same scenario of your life lessons that, you're getting that same thing that you got in past life, right? And you weren't appreciating. Here's your rise. And now watch. You're going to do that same thing that you did in past life. You only wanted everything for yourself. You never gave anything in return. You never gave anything back. And now that you became a bit of this narcissist, a bit of this egotistical individual, now watch how your fame turns into infamy. And remember, this is not every single Venus Atmakaraka in the ascendant. We have to look at the severity of this Venus. Depending upon how this Venus is surrounded by and impacted by planets, either the oven is at 150 degrees. It's okay. You can even put your hands in the oven for about 20 seconds. Or it will be at 350 degrees or 400 degrees, burning hot. So the severity of this particular Venus in the ascendant as the Atmakaraka, it is going to differentiate from person to person. But those lessons will either come at this extreme level that I'm saying, Miss Universe, right? Or it'll be in some very subtle level. A person has the looks, has everything amongst their friends, gets all the attention, everything, but they never appreciate, never try to bring the other people and the friends around them to feel more beautiful around them. See, the lesson of Venus as the Atmakaraka and the ascendant, you're not beautiful. You're here to make other people feel beautiful. One of the perfect example, I'll give you two examples. If you see, there's big controversy with Snow White and Rachel Zegler, right? Even if you look at her interviews, as a 21-year-old, saying things like, oh, I'm a narcissist. Oh, I'm this. Oh, and this is old. We have to do things in a new way. Oh, I hope Trump voters and MAGA always have unhappiness in their life. Oh, and I'm going to stand up for Palestine and this and that. And so what does she do? She divided people instead of bringing them together. And you saw the repercussion of what happened. It became the worst rated movie and the lowest grossing movie for Disney. Okay. And I'm not saying, I don't know what her chart is. I'm giving you a best example of that bad side of Venus. Where instead of saying that I'm going to say this, one should have stood up if Rachel Zegler took the right side of this Venus to learn the lesson. And hopefully that lesson is learned. Because you have to screw up in order for you to understand things, right? One should have said, listen, I know I voted for this side because I love what they do. I love all the things, all the women's rights, but it's okay. You can vote for who you like. As long as at the end of the day, we can sit on a long table and have a feast together and laugh. That is America. That is the beauty. That is the freedom. And instead of saying peace for Palestine, she should have been more like, listen, guys, can we just get along, have a Kool-Aid and have a party together? What is up with this fighting? Of you being Jewish and you being Palestinian. Let's come on. Enough of this BS. Let's just settle it. Let's just live in peace. If this is the type of approach she would have taken, right now theaters would be filled. And it would have even grossed maybe $280 million over the weekend. Because Venus represents the art form of negotiations. The art form of diplomacy. But the lesson with the Venus is Atmakaraka, especially in Kendra 1, 4, 7, 10, becomes very severe and strong for this Venus. Because Venus is a negotiator. Venus loves justice. So for example, if Rachel Zegler stood up for justice for Palestine, went completely in the wrong direction and haywire, there's a right way of standing up for something and still being neutral. Like, hey, let's give these people a peace and let's have you guys be at peace. So nobody is in fear in the evening and seeing where the rocket is going to come. Let's sit down and please have peace. Peace, peace, peace. Even though internally you know you are only for that one side, but Venus says that I am the appearance. I am your face. People will judge you with your face. Why? Because Venus is the original second lord of your face. What you say, your Vak Siddhi. Venus is Siddhi. Venus is second house. Your speech is what? Spelling. Spell. It's you're throwing out spells every time you say something. So you could either have a negative effect, boomerang effect with your speech, or you can literally have the world at your feet. This is why Venus shows the beauty. The beauty is actually within the speech of the person. This is why Venus makes a brilliant lawyer who's able to take the worst of the worst criminals and give them justice and fairness. Okay? Because Venus knows the art of not pointing at the other party, but being at the table, partying with the party, laughing with them. Because nobody likes to be taunted. Nobody likes to be pointed finger at that you're wrong. Everybody wants to be appreciated. Everybody wants to feel like the king. Like, for example, when I said Sun as the Atmakaraka. Okay. If this person tries to behave like a king and show off the individual and look at me, I'm the best. Boom. Saturn will be, or Sun will be, treated like Saturn. So what is that? The lesson of my very first series, Sun as the Atmakaraka. Behave like you're Saturn. Behave like you're at the feet of others. And that's how your Surya rises. Here, Venus is the Atmakaraka. Don't say, I am the beautiful. Say, I am not worthy of your look. But please do appreciate when you watch this movie. I've worked hard on it. There's an art form for this Venus. So if you look at the other side, if you guys remember, this supermodel named Christy Turlington. Perfect face features, beautiful, right? Christy, back then it was Christy Turlington, Cindy Crawford, Naomi Campbell, Bridget Nelson. I know other were there too, but that woman, Christy Turlington, disappeared. The moment she could get out, she got out. And she wanted to just be in a village, helping out certain kids and girls in Africa somewhere. Unknown. No longer, like nobody even knows what she's up to, what she's doing. Because she never wanted to be this. She never wanted that praises as a supermodel. She actually wanted to be behind the scenes doing photography. Okay. She wanted to actually be out there doing the work that she's doing. That's what she wanted to do. And that is the Venus, the Atmakaraka. That means this person learned that lesson. That there's nothing called external beauty. There's only internal beauty. I'm here to deal with you all. You're all more beautiful than me. Forget about my super status or supermodel status. Because then what happens is it's going to put you back into that situation. Make you do the same things and then have you fall. And if you don't learn your lesson, it'll keep doing that and it'll last till your last breath. But if you make one mistake and you learn, or you learn from this video of Kapiel Raaj, then you will see how things just begin to move and change in your life. Because when the Atmakaraka begins to resolve its karma, naturally, divinity is the next step that you will see. Desire to, there'll just be desire of letting go of things. It becomes active. And when you have let go of the desire of the Atmakaraka, now you get the things that, okay, you learned your lesson. God is not merciless. God is like, okay, you screwed up. Have you learned your lesson? Seems like you've learned your lesson. Here, have your buffet and feast and your cars and your money. You learned your lesson. Come on. Tatatsu. Okay. That's what God says. The other thing, especially in marriage, Venus has the Atmakaraka, both men and women in the ascendant, because I know they will behave differently for both men and women. Because men will understand you will not understand if you're a man with Venus in the Atmakaraka, your lessons don't even start till you actually get married. That's when your lessons start. Or when you interact with women. That's where your lessons will come through. But especially for women, I just explained, but also both for men and women. The way this particular Venus will go in terms of marriage, the mistake that they will make is they will make enormous amount of checklist about who they need to be with, who they want to be with. Like when you see if you know a Venus Atmakaraka person has a profile on some matrimonial website, some dating website, they'll be like, you should have a minimum of master's degree or a PhD, preferably in computer science and AI. You should be from this and this sect of family. You should be at least 5'10". You should at least have your own place or apartment or home and have a secured future. Should be with the company for at least 5 to 7 years minimum. Because why? Because then they're looking for stability. You should be God-fearing. Because now they want that checklist. And then the mistake happens depending upon how Venus is. Remember what I said, the severity of Venus will differ. They'll get everything and then they find out that, everything is a fraud. The fancy cars this person was driving, the home they had is nothing but borrowed money. There's nothing in the bank account. It's net negative. So now that lessons has to be learned. That you specifically said this. And yet, you didn't look for one thing that is the lesson of this Venus is imperfected, impure, not I wouldn't say impure, but unconditional love. There's always condition with Venus as Atmakaraka when it comes to love. And when it's severely damaged, these list comes first, then comes love. That, you bought me a Bentley. Oh my God, I got a trophy wife. Okay, I love you. But that actual love, where is that love? That even if that person leaves you and goes to another person, you still wish the best for them. No matter what, whoever Krishna was with, Radha looked on Krishna as Krishna. So, Venus in the ascendant is actually the embodiment of Radha. You have to be like Radha. And yes, with Venus as the Atmakaraka, you will have a situation where one of your loves of your life will not be coming to you. You will get somebody else. More good looking, beautiful, pretty, handsome, more educated. But that one person that you really wanted to be with, you couldn't. Because of course, there's a lesson to be learned. As you sow, so you reap. Okay. And then, after that particular thing, a person will become like Radha. Okay. I mean, there's so many, and I know I'm like mixing some of these scenarios up. My first video was just in flow. So yeah, Venus rules the second house of the 5 Indriyas. Your sense, taste, sight, touch, smell. 7th house of companionship, unionship, and devotion to the unionship. So when it's in the first house, the lessons will be you will misuse your Indriyas. You'll only look at that sight first, make a mistake. And if you learn your lesson, you will no longer look at that sight that, oh my God, it's a beautiful person, I want to be with them. No, you will look for the fact that, okay, are you real or not? I'm done with fakery. And especially Atmakaraka Venus in the first house will say things that becomes the spell. Because spelling, right? Spell. It becomes a spell and it becomes a poison and it affects you back. Within the area of marriage and unionship, instead of looking for the checklist, you look for balance. Are you a good person? Okay. I'm not saying that a person with the Venus Atmakaraka needs to be with somebody who has no income, no job, no homeless, and this and that. Okay, let's not become that dramatic because again, Venus originally rules the Libra sign. It said, give me balance. Fine, you don't have to be Salman Khan. You don't have to be, I don't know. You don't have to be Fabio. You don't need to be, Miss Universe or anything. You don't have to be a supermodel. You don't have to be a Kim Kardashian. Just, you should be normal, decent, wanting to have a great family, motherhood, fatherhood, this, that. Okay, great. Because once these lessons, if these lessons come early in time, you will have a very devoted spouse. Venus as the Atmakaraka will give devotion. And especially for men, like I said, is different. Venus has the Atmakaraka in the ascendant, you better put your spouse on the pedestal. Okay? And your devotion has to be towards spouse. Don't expect the spouse to be devoted to you. I'm not saying they're not going to be. I'm just saying that's not your duty. That is not your dharma with this Venus. Your dharma is you have to be devoted. You have to be at the feet of the spouse as the husband. That's your lesson. You didn't get this Venus as Atmakaraka because you got your Radha in your past life. No. There was obviously mistreatment. That's why you're getting this Venus as the Atmakaraka. Remember, Venus as the Atma, no planet as the Atmakaraka is like something this is amazing and grand. There's always a lesson whether you're a billionaire celebrity or whether you're homeless. You're learning lessons. Okay, but like I said, where's the oven knob? Is it at 100 degrees, 150 degrees, or 450 degrees? How badly is your Atmakaraka cooking? Because that's how bad the burn is going to be then. Okay. But it's one of the most beautiful placement. I mean, the Venus as the Atmakaraka has a lot to offer. It can bring offering of diplomacy, negotiations, real siddhis. Like if your Venus is the Atmakaraka, you have the permission to have siddhis. Especially, let's say, your Mercury is behind Sun. If Mercury is behind Sun and Venus is the Atmakaraka, your siddhis will come to you by you just sitting. You know, people who find enlightenment sitting in the bathroom, finding enlightenment just looking at a leaf and a tree. This is that Venus. You can attain powers with Venus. Okay. Now, of course, if Mercury is between Venus and Sun, you will be a self-made person. You'll have to do things on your own. And this is something that once I finish my series, I am going to bring a new series of planets 2nd and 12th from each other. That's when you will see the real rasa of Jyotish, where especially the Nadi principles becomes amazing. I mean, it's this beauty. So, whatever, if you're on that other path of that Venus, do the opposite. Do the opposite. Like especially Venus in the ascendant as the Atmakaraka and Chitra Nakshatra. And especially Venus trine from Rahu, you will see this person will put the most selfies and will make all kinds of faces on Instagram and they want that like and all that. At one point, it will become the cause of biggest issues. And if that is the case, one needs to give themselves, instead of taking a selfie, give some wisdom out. Just talk. Say something nice to someone. Make someone else feels better. You have a great following. Whenever you meet one of your followers, take a picture with them and say, this is a special person, not me. This is a special person. So that's all it is. Either you learn that lesson of that Shukra or that any planet that is the Atmakaraka, or it'll continue on. It'll have to pass through to the other life. And maybe even this video won't help because maybe you're supposed to have 3 lifetimes of Venus as the Atmakaraka. I don't know. I'm not Brahma. I don't know much. Okay. So anyway, guys, this was my second analysis of Venus as the Atmakaraka in the first house. And again, if you want to know about the others, please make sure to subscribe so you don't miss these type of videos. And if you want to know everything about, your chart consultations, check out the links here. And also remember, I put up 2 new courses on my academy related to progression and the combinations of Nadi, which is taking the portion from my main BNN course and taking them as 2 separate courses. So this way you can easily just learn the part that you want to learn. But a lot more also is coming. Anyway, we'll see you later. Bye-bye. Please, hopefully this has recorded. Because otherwise I'll go insane.